Hi, and welcome back to this week's Run Signature episode. My name is Melissa Thompson, and I work on the social media team here at Brooks. And right now, you're here with us in the Brooks Trailhead store. So during the day, runners come in, and they're able to shop around and find their soulmate, yep, punny, and clothes as well. But today, we're going to talk through Run Signature and the Connect experience more specifically. If you're joining us, please feel free to comment and say hi. We'd love to be able to talk to you and know that you're joining us and answer any questions that you may have. So going back to last week and the week prior, we kicked off our Run Signature series by taking you through the biomechanics behind this new fitting philosophy. Basically what Run Signature is it's the ability to fit into whichever category of experience you like, whether you're a support shoe or a neutral shoe. So the four experiences we have to offer are cushion, energize, connect, and speed. Today we're going to be looking at connect specifically, and we're going to take you through what this experience feels like for you, the shoes that are available to you in this category. There's a question. What's the question, Ryan?
We have one question. This person wants to know what store you're in.
I'm in the Brooks Trailhead store in Seattle, Washington, on the corner of 34th and Stone. And we'll be coming live for the next 2 weeks from this store to teach you about Run Signature. So back to the Connect experience, which is what we're going to talk to you guys about today. Jenna from our footwear team is going to join us, and she's going to talk to you guys about the Connect experience. Jenna, why don't you join me on screen? Everyone, this is Jenna.
Hi.
Jenna's been working at Brooks for about 3 years, right? Do you want to explain a little bit about your role here at Brooks?
Yeah, sure. I'm a product line manager, so I work with our footwear designers and footwear developers to really have the eye for the consumer is my role. So to make sure that as we're updating a shoe, we make sure it's the right functional and aesthetically and all that for the runner.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So she's working on these shoes day in and day out. So Jenna, today we're going to go through Connect with our runners.
Yep.
How would you describe the Connect experience?
So we think about our shoes in terms of, we have this kind of quadrant system. So Connect for us is really a feel experience, so being really low to the ground, being able to interact with the surface underneath you, and then kind of a plush ride. So it's not like a super firm, it's soft and forgiving, and you can really feel connected. Sorry to use the term to explain it, but you can feel connected to the ground and let your feet really do the work.
Awesome. And how many shoes do we have in this category?
We have two road shoes in the Connect experience, the Pure Flow, which is a neutral option, and the Pure Cadence, which is our support option.
Awesome. So we're going to take you guys through the Pure Flow and the Pure Cadence and kind of show you the differences between the two. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask as we talk through the differences. We'd really love to know what you guys are curious about learning. I'm seeing a few comments come in. Let's see. Hi, Lisa. Hi, Tyler. Oh, hi, Mark. I'm going to grab a shoe. Jenna, if you want to, oh, perfect. She brought them for us. So why don't which one do you want to start with?
Let's start with Pure Flow.
Okay. Pure Flow.
So maybe I'll just mention right off the bat. So we used to have 3 shoes in this collection. We had a shoe called the Pure Connect. And when we did this version of the Pure Flow, what we wanted to do was really combine what people loved about the Pure Connect, which was this really beautiful silhouette, and it was really the lowest to the ground, with the runnability that we were getting out of the Pure Flows of past. So when we updated this version of the Pure Flow, we really combined those two really loved elements of the shoe.
Okay.
So the Flow, as it is now, is really our most flexible and, again, neutral shoe in this category. So one of the things that it has is it's really super hyper flexible in the forefoot. You can see we actually cut the midsole all the way into what's called the strobel. Sorry to get technical on you here, but it's cut all the way down to the upper of the shoe or at the bottom of there. So really super flexible on the front. On the upper, we have what's called a 3D fit print execution. So it's a really simple, clean piece of mesh with an ink is what it is. And so you create this beautiful design. You can see the kind of starry print. So it's not really a structural piece per se, but it's really just a beautiful piece that keeps it nice and pure and simple. And then something that these shoes both share is the rounded heel. So you can see it on the Cadence and the Flow. What we do here is we create kind of this bevel and rounding, and that helps your body to land closer to your joint center. So you're landing kind of more directly under you, which is really a biomechanical insight that helps you run more true to how your body would do naturally.
Awesome. So it looks like the women's shoe has this beautiful starry pattern. What does the 3D printing on the male shoe look like?
Here we've got, this is probably the brightest we have of the men's. We have the red, and then it's kind of a tonal execution, so you can see the fit print in the gray with the stars in the black.
Awesome. Very nice. All right, should we go through the pure cadence?
Yeah. So this is a women's pure cadence here. So what we want to make sure we do with Run Signature is that no matter what your preferred experience is, it doesn't matter what your biomechanics are. We want to make sure you have the ability to have that experience. So
Right.
We're one of the only brands that I know of that has a support shoe in this kind of Connect experience, and that's the pure cadence right here. So
Okay.
I mentioned already that we share this rounded heel technology, and that's something that's relevant whether you're a high or low deviator.
Okay.
The other thing that we do to have the shoe be relevant for a higher deviator is we have this Pure Project guide rail. So you can see there's kind of two colors of the midsole here. So the blue part is a softer foam, and then in the purple, this is our Pure Project guide rail. It wraps all the way around the back of the shoe and then actually goes under your big toe, and you can see it kind of peeking through under the rubber here. And that allows your body it allows, if you're a higher deviator, to keep you kind of in range of where your body wants to run naturally, so within your preferred motion path.
Okay. So this is kind of, it's very different. If you flip
Yeah.
it over, you can kind of see the difference between the two.
Yeah, so this is just a single piece, single density foam.
Okay.
And this is a dual density foam is what it's called. So you can see wherever the purple is popping out is a firmer durometer is what it's called.
Got it. So if you're just joining us, we're here with Jenna. She's on our footwear team, and we're talking through Run Signature and most specifically the Connect experience. We'd love to answer any questions that you might have. So if you're just popping on, feel free to say hi to me and Jenna, or just ask us any questions that you might have in terms of Run Signature and the Connect experience. So back to the pure cadence.
Yeah.
Do we need to go through the upper on
Sure,
this
yeah.
one?
So we still have a 3D fit print upper like we have on the Pure Flow, on the
Okay.
Pure Cadence, but we've executed a little differently. So you can see there's two different colors here. So there's a tonal kind of black, and then there's the blue, and we create actually kind of a saddle in the midfoot of the shoe. So that helps give a little more wrap for that person who is a higher deviator and wants a little more support
Okay.
on the upper. And then the other thing is we have this external heel clip. It's this black piece here. Let me see if I can find one that's a little stands out a little more. See on this green men's shoe, the black piece here is that external heel clip.
Nice.
And that, again, helps to keep that calcaneus from rotating outside of someone's preferred motion path.
Okay, and if you're simple terms, calcaneus is?
So the calcaneus is the biggest bone in the foot.
Okay.
And so the rotation of it is it kind of doing this.
Okay. We're
Yeah.
demonstrating
Yeah.
a little bit. Awesome. Is there any other features that we're missing on the Pure Cadence?
I mean, those are really the big call outs, and both shoes we have this really nice wrap around the heel collar, so this is nice and plush, and that helps keep it just really nice and soft against the foot and no ability for seams to irritate the Achilles.
Oh, very nice. So it sounds like we have some questions, Ryan.
Hi everyone, I'm Ryan, behind the camera. So one question is from Michael. Which shoe is best for a beginner runner overall?
In terms of the Connect experience, I'd say these are pretty comparable. It just depends on whether you're a higher or lower deviator, and you can find that out even through our shoe finder on brooksrunning.com.
Yep.
There's other experiences too.
Yeah,
though,
I was going to say,
yeah.
because it sounds like he's saying in general, Michael, let us know, write back in and tell us if you are specific to Connect and we can elaborate a little bit more. But overall, for a beginner runner, is there a particular category that you suggest starting off?
Well, I mean, I'd refer back to that, the shoe finder. So what we want to do is kind of help guide you to the sort of running experience, the ride that you want to feel. So that shoe finder will guide you through questions like, do you want to feel kind of higher off the ground so you can feel kind of more protected, and that might skew you towards a more cushion experience? Or to get to Connect, it would be, do you want to feel a little lower to the ground? Do you want your foot to kind of do the work? Or you could flip to our more kind of responsive side of the quadrant, so a more energizing experience where it's going to be a little firmer but give you a little more back. Or speed, so where it's going to be a little lower to the ground and firmer, and it's going to help you kind of get up and go.
Get up and go. Awesome. Ryan, what's our next question?
Lisa usually wears a journaling. She was just wondering, are there any other comparable shoes that she
Sure.
can
Hi, Lisa. Yeah, so in terms of outside of the cushion experience is where the adrenaline sits. So one thing you could do is within cushion you could look at what's a more what we call an amplified version of that cushion experience. So that would be our transcend. But you could also look into what different experiences are. So the adrenaline is a shoe for high deviators. It's a support shoe. If you wanted a more responsive ride, you could look to the Ravenna, which is has a little higher toe spring, kind of gives you a little a little firmer, a little springier ride. Or you could look at the Pure Cadence, which is the one that we're highlighting today.
In the Connect.
Yeah.
Another question that we have is Mariah. She just wants to know when trying on shoes, how do you know if a shoe fits well?
So hi Mariah. So one thing I would recommend if you're going to a specialty shop or anything like that, they'll be happy to recommend and give you advice on that. But in terms of a running shoe, normally you want to give a little. You're normally going to size up a little bit from what you would wear in a normal dress shoe.
Yep.
And part of that is the longer you're running, the more your feet are going to swell. So you want to make sure that your toes have room to kind of spread out over time.
Oh, very
Yeah.
cool. I did not know that. I just knew that you were supposed to go a little bit size up. So I learned something new today too. So do we have any more questions, Ryan?
Yeah, we have another one.
Okay.
So can you just tell us more about those that used to wear the Pure Connect, what shoe they can wear now?
Yeah, so if you were wearing the Pure Connect, I would definitely recommend trying out the new Pure Flow. As I mentioned at the beginning, we really tried to make an update that was really functionally performed like a Pure Flow, but also had that really great silhouette that the Pure Connect had in the past. So I would try out the new Pure Flow that's out now.
So if you're just joining us, we have Jenna here. She's from our footwear team, and we're going through Run Signature, more specifically the Connect experience. If you haven't heard of Run Signature before, it's our new fitting philosophy that says it doesn't matter if you're support or neutral. We want to find an experience that you like so that you get the most out of your run based off of the feel that you enjoy, because running's the most fun when you're comfortable and enjoying your ride. So if you have any questions, feel free to to comment below and ask, or just say hi. Sounds like we have another question. Ryan, what's our next question?
Yeah, the questions are coming in. This is great. So Matt has a question. He usually wears the GTS, and they're a little heavy right now for about 5 miles. Do you recommend anything comparable that is lighter than the GTS?
Yeah. Yeah, so thanks, great question, Matt. And one thing I'd say is that across the board, I'm on the footwear team, and so we're working to get our shoes to a point where they're lighter and lighter and really relevant for runners. But one thing that is great about Run Signature is that it gives you the opportunity to find shoes in different experiences that are good for you as a higher deviator. So we have support shoes like the Pure Cadence, which we have the men's, one of the men's colors right here. Is going to be a much lighter option for you, but it's still a good shoe for somebody who's a high deviator who needs a little help to stay within their preferred motion path.
Awesome. So it sounds like within this category, Pure Cadence would be our recommendation. If you're considering other categories such as Energizer Speed, we're going to do a deep dive into those in the next 2 weeks. So join us then, and you can ask the same question, and we can see which shoe you would be in the next quadrant. Or category, not quadrant.
One question from Trevor is, how does the new Pure Flow differ from the Pure Flows 2 and 3?
I would so personally, I was a big fan of Pure Flow 1, for example, and I'd say in some ways this gets a little bit to what was great about that shoe in particular. So one thing is we don't have the burrito tongue that we had on the 2 and 3, so the tongue is detached. It's not in the burrito tongue. What I mean by that is we had some previous versions of the shoe where it was connected on the inside of the shoe. So it's nice in terms of the tongue not moving around, but this is great too, and it's really a track and field inspired tongue, so it's really soft and plush here, but really conforms to the foot really nicely. Another thing is we no longer have the nav band, so we used to have navicular is another bone in the foot, but that helped give a great midfoot wrap, and so we really went back to kind of that pure concept, so keeping it really clean, and so it still fits really great around that midfoot, but we're really just delivering that in a much simpler way. So that's one way, and then it's just much more flexible, to be honest. So we already talked about this earlier, but how much more flexibility we're getting out of this forefoot here is really increased from the 2 and the 3.
Awesome. Julie, it looks like you just joined us and you love the addiction, so hello to you and thanks for tuning in. Ryan, do we have a few more questions?
One question out of the Connect experience going to the cushion one is we know the Ghost 9 is pretty hot right now, so this user's just interested to know what's the difference between Ghost 9 and Ghost 8.
Oh, that's a great question. So before Jena answers, so the question was about the Ghost 9, which is not in the Connect category, it's in the cushion category. So if you're just joining us, last week we went through Run Signature in the cushion category with Carly, and now we're here with Jena and we're going through Connect. But Jena's on our footwear team, she works across all of our product lines, so she's definitely an expert to answer this question. But it is in cushion. Let me go ahead and grab it so they know which one you're talking about, and then we can go through the differences. All right, so this is the Ghost 9. And the question was, what's the differences between the Ghost 9 and the Ghost 8?
Yeah, so I'd say in terms of the functionality of the shoe, we really try to make just really small updates so that the ride is consistent from year to year, but we are seeing some really great successes with this shoe. So one thing you'll notice is just how much segmentation we have, and this is actually something that's carried over, but we always want to remind people that the great thing about this segmented crash pad is that it gives a really smooth transition from heel to forefoot, which is perfect when you're talking about a cushion experience. Another thing is just the execution of this engineered mesh. So we really tried to simplify the engineering on the mesh here. It's really structural, so you can see there's these zonal areas where it's closed, but we don't have to put an overlay over the top, so that helps keep it really it doesn't lock you in like an overlay would.
Okay.
And then we do have this great 3D print, which is, it's tonal here, but you can see it kind of in the saddle here to give some support, just keep you locked in there in the midfoot.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was a great question. And Trevor says thank you as well.
Sure.
So before we go any further, I think it's a really great time to talk about, with Connect especially, is this kind of Brooks' answer to the barefoot philosophy?
Yeah, for sure. So we came out with the original Pure line, so Pure 1, really out of the biomechanical insights that started when people were looking into barefoot running.
Okay.
One thing that we really want to focus on, and with every single shoe, is how do we deliver on the biomechanical inside of it. So we don't want to just lower all the offsets on our shoes or just make them, cut off the midsole. So we were very, very strategic in terms of the technologies that we put into it to make sure that it was still runnable product, because that's what we're all about.
Right.
So definitely we do have a lower offset on these shoes than we do on all of our other shoes. So this is a 4mm offset.
Okay.
So the midsole heights are 18 in the heel and 14. 18, 14. So 4mm difference from the heel to the forefoot.
Okay.
So that helps you sit just a little bit flatter, more like your foot would, as though it were barefoot on the ground.
Okay.
But it's not a true zero offset shoe, because we feel like you get a little bit more runnability out of having just a little bit of that increased height in the back of the shoe.
Okay.
I already mentioned earlier, but the rounded heel is something that really is helpful in terms of that being more natural to how you would land if you were barefoot.
Okay.
So really rounding this off so you land closer to right under your joint center.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, and then giving a really nice amount of room in the forefoot, so not getting really pointy. You want your toes to be able to splay a little bit, like they would if you were barefoot, and then flexibility overall.
This is my favorite part of the demonstration so far. Is
Yeah,
the flexibility.
flexibility. Yep.
It sounds like we have another great question. But before we get there, I just want to say hello to everyone who's tuning in. We're seeing your likes and loves, so thank you so much for joining us. We're here with Jena, and we're going through Run Signature, our new fitting philosophy, and talking through the Connect experience. But since she's on our footwear team, she's an expert of it all. So she's answering all types of questions, which is really great. Thanks so much.
Sure.
What's the next question we have, Brian?
This question is from Manuel. He just wants, let's just confirm that these shoes are for the road shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are both road shoe Connect category. Manuel, great question.
Yeah. And we do have a trail shoe. We actually have a trail shoe in each of our 4 experience quadrants, or we will starting early next year.
Okay.
And we're going to have a trail segment.
Yeah, so the plan is to go through trail specifically. So if you have trail questions, be on the lookout, because we will do another Facebook Live, most likely with Jena, to go through the trail segments.
I'm the trail nerd.
Ryan, do you have any other questions?
No, everyone's just loving it.
Awesome. Thanks so much. So before we let Jena go, make sure you get in some more questions. Feel free to keep commenting in and saying hello as well. But we're going to go ahead and bring on another Brooks employee, Danielle. She's on our marketing team. Danielle, why don't you say hi? Hi, guys. So Danielle loves the Connect experience. So Danielle, why don't you talk to us a little bit about your relationship with running? Like, how many days a week are you running? How many miles?
Yeah. So I started running probably about 10 years ago, and it fluctuates whether I'm training for anything, but I generally run about 20 to 30 miles a week, everywhere from 3 miles a day to 6, or maybe a long run thrown in if I'm training for something.
Awesome. And what shoe from the Connect category are you just loving right now?
I love the Pure Flow. I think it's awesome.
Oh, okay. So I think this is my favorite part too. I make the runners kind of do a little catwalk. So Danielle,
Don't
why
judge.
don't you show us your Pure Flows and do an actual walk in them, so they can kind of see them in action. That's perfect. Good work, Ryan, from behind the camera. Awesome. So Danielle, when you're walking in those, what is the feel? What's the experience that you get?
Yeah, so you feel really close to the ground, flexible, really connected to the road experience, which I really love. I like that feeling of being able to feel the ground a little bit more.
Awesome. And so cause you don't have to stay in the same category or experience every day. Some days we want to feel the ground and some days we want to get up and go. So what's another category that you really love?
So I fluctuate between actually 3 different categories. So the Flow is my Connect option, and then on the cushion side, I love the Ghost 9. It's awesome. Definitely more of that kind of plush experience. And then when I want to throw in a little bit of speed, I go Launch. So.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Danielle. Ryan, is there any other questions before we sign off?
Yeah, we have one question.
Okay.
What do you think is the best shoe for those that love the Pure Drift?
I would say the Pure Flow is your best option if you're a Pure Drift fan. And the great thing about this version of the Pure Flow is we really, again, played up the flexibility. So the Pure Drift was our lowest to the ground option that we ever came out with. So I'd say for us, Pure Flow is going to help give a lot of that flexibility that you're getting out of the drift.
Awesome.
And then do you have a recommendation for those that live in the Pacific Northwest and are accustomed to rain?
These shoes are all really moisture wicking, so I'd say this combined with a really great moisture wicking sock is really your best option. So yeah, one of those things, it's an occupational hazard of living in the Pacific Northwest like us. It's raining out there today, is that your feet are probably going to get wet. But one other option that we have for you is you could look at some of our water resistant and waterproof Gore-Tex options. So the Ghost 9, which we mentioned a couple times, is in our cushion experience. And it's doing really well right now. Or the Gore-Tex version of that is just about to hit the shelves. So I would check out that if you want to keep your feet completely free from those puddles.
Another question is just what's the best shoe for those that pronate?
Yeah. So one thing about Run Signature, and if you go back, I think maybe Stacy went through some of the scientific and biomechanical parameters of Run Signature.
But go ahead and recap it.
Yeah. So one thing that we're looking at with Run Signature is going beyond pronation. So pronation actually is something that historically shoes have been recommended based on, but it's really only one aspect of the puzzle. And in some cases, pronation is actually a good thing for you. So what we look for more is how can we keep you in your preferred motion path. So if you pronate at 1 step in or 10 miles in, but we're not seeing anything up your kinetic chain, that's okay. We might still recommend a neutral shoe for you. So what we would recommend is if you're not able to come in and get your gait analyzed here or at a rock and roll event, check out brooksrunning.com, and we have some ways that you can kind of check how flexible your joints are, even down to the nitty-gritty like that through our shoe finder there. So overall, in terms of old school thinking, pronation would be a support recommendation. So we have a whole bunch of shoes in our support line, but I would kind of start looking more up the kinetic chain in terms of how maybe pronation is good for you and you want to keep you in a neutral shoe.
Yeah. And when she says working up your kinetic chain, if we remember with Stacy, some of the things we looked at were knee, ankle, so not just focusing on the pronation aspect, but kind of looking at your greater body movements as you run.
Yeah.
Is that like a simple way of saying it?
Yeah, so we look at a couple different motions in the feet and ankles, some in the knees, and even as high up as the hip are things that are going to determine what your shoe recommendation is.
Awesome. Well, we've really enjoyed talking through the Connect experience with you ladies today, and we'll be online next week at 9 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 Eastern Standard Time to talk through the Energize category. So join us, and we will have another footwear expert to answer all your questions. Have a great day.
Thank you.